Tension continues to rise between the world powers and the nation of Palestine as UN weapon inspectors were refused entry into the country by their great dictator, Jagmeet Trudeau.
I will take no options off the table, and I mean what I say.
According to Palestinian propaganda, Jagmeet Trudeau was born on February 3rd, 1973. He unfortunately never met his mother as she died in childbirth. Jagmeet himself was born the only son of the legendary Colonel Pierre Bobdeshan Singh Trudeau, who himself was a fearless dictator. Known for his horrendous economic policies, Jagmeet Trudeau has put his country in the gutter. Inflation has gotten so bad in the nation of Palestine that there are $100,000 bills.
In the fictional nation of Palestine, a crippled economy has led civilians to come to the doors of parliament and demand the immediate resignation of the prime minister.
Our country is on the verge of becoming a failed state. The people have gone mad. We have a $1,000 bill, for God's sakes. Mr. Jagmeet Trudeau, you're the only one who can help us.
Indeed, we are in a very tough position right now. Only God can save us. Where is our finance minister, Mr. Benjamin?
Money!
As he arrived from Tel Aviv.
Money!
It's here, Mr. Prime Minister.
Mr. Prime Minister,
Alright, Mr. Benjamin, do you have any ideas?
back in my home country, Israel, we raise taxes. I say we raise taxes again.
That's a fucking genius idea, Habibi! Israel, Palestine!
Unfortunately, due to the finance minister's incompetence, raising taxes did nothing but cause pressure and more anger among the masses.
Alright, so the mob has killed our dear old friend, Benjamin.
Now wait a minute, you might be wondering, what the fuck happened to Benjamin? Well, here's a dramatic recreation.
Slaughter gang shit, murder gang shit, slaughter gang shit, murder gang shit. I'm on this slaughter gang shit, murder gang shit.
People would love taxes. Clearly not. Now, Mr. General, do you have any ideas that will not get you killed, burned, raped, beheaded?
Mr. President, I have one idea. So good, if I tell you, you wouldn't believe me.
Just fucking spit it out, Mr. General.
Genies, Mr. President. Genies.
This may be the most sane idea, most normal idea our country has had in decades. So, I'm very intrigued. Tell me more, Mr. General.
Says here, there is a myth that has been told for many centuries of a genie in a lamp.
Oh, like Aladdin! Continue, my bad, sir.
Yes, Mr. President. We call it the economist lamp. The genie within an economic mastermind known as Milton Friedman. If we find the lamp, maybe he can help us solve our economic woes.
This may be the most sane idea we have had in years. Alright, so General, I will accompany you on this quest for the magic lamp. But please tell me more about this economist, okay?
Yes, Mr. Prime Minister. Says here on our record, Milton Friedman was the R. Kelly of economists. Any problem he had, he would smash it. He was one of the most influential economists in the 20th century. He was born on the 31st of July, 1912 in Brooklyn, New York, and his parents were immigrants from Hungary who had come to America to find something to eat. Oh, and sir, Friedman was an absolute fucking insane mathematician, and he got his bachelor's at Rutgers. But he said, what the fuck? I'll continue studying. And he ended up studying economics and pursued a master's at University of Chicago. There he didn't get shot. At this point, he was making his professors look like professional pocket pool players, because this son of a gun went for a PhD.
That, my friend, is very insane. I thought most economic majors just teach high schoolers and talk about football and Cristiano Ronaldo all day.
Sounds pretty familiar. No, sir, those are just the Portuguese ones. But anyways, where was I? Oh yes, Milton. Milton went then on to teach at University of Chicago. And this is the kicker. His most famous contributions were relating to money, inflation, and consumption.
Oh, so the issues that are railing our dear beloved country.
Yes, Mr. President. Now this guy was a top tier. He made books called Capitalism and Freedom and Free to Choose, both which are New York Times bestsellers.
But General, literally every New York Times bestseller. You could write something on a Wattpad and it will be New York Times seller.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'm aware of that, sir. You, in fact, had your own New York best.
Oh yes, mine lockdown was a great success. It was.
Oh yes, absolutely. It certainly was, Mr. President.
So General, how do we get a hold of this lamp?
So, as far as we know, at this current time, the Iranians have it stored away in their vault.
Well, you know what that means? Call up our American brothers and sisters.
From CNN International, this is World News.
The U.S. has succeeded in their humanitarian intervention of Iran. The president was going to give a speech earlier, but was unable due to the fact that he was rushed to the hospital because he fell off the stage.
Good old Joe, he's a funny man, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. He sure is right. Sir, the American party has just arrived. Should I let the secretary know and allow him in the building?
And Nancy, can you let in the American? And please bring me my Bebsy. Oh, he's right there coming, sir.
Howdy, Mr. Prime Minister. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. You must be the general.
Sir,
Nice to meet you. Okay, my name's Peter. Last name Val. You can call me Peter Val. What are we discussing today?
So, have you brought me my lamp?
Yes, the lamp is right there. The legendary economic lamp.
Alright, so I have not forgotten your reward. I will give you 100 barrels of oil and I will give you Saddam's weapons of mass destruction.
Thanks a lot, Prime Minister. But may I ask, with a failing economy like yours, would it not be better just to sell it off?
Don't be silly, Mr. Peter Fly. I was going to use the oil to buy a couple of mansions in London anyway, so it worked out pretty well for me.
Well, yes, it is. So, I'd like to tell you very soon, sir. And meanwhile, here's the lamp.
Alright, thank you, my good friend.
Have a good day.
what a weirdo.
General, I have rubbed things in the past and it has not ended up well, so please do it for me.
Sir, you want me to rub this?
Yes.
This is the lamp?
Yes, this is the genie's lamp. Hold it. Okay, sir. I see it coming out!
Holy shit, that lamp is so fucking cramped. Really makes you empathize with the Jewish community.
You're Milton Friedman.
No, I'm white Kanye West. Who the fuck do you think I am?
But Kanye West is black.
You know what? Let's start off on a good note.
Alright.
Yes, I am Milton Friedman, the only real capitalist left in this world. What exactly do you want from me?
So, well, you see, my name is Justin Trudeau, okay? I have a nickname, Jagmeet, you might have heard before. That was a whole misunderstanding at the Halloween party. So, I am the leader of Palestine, okay?
Oh yeah, my buddy Benjamin, he owns some good real estate here.
But he died early on in the episode.
He what?
It's a long story. So,
Yikes. What's
so
your
our
currency?
country is in a severe recession right now, and we're nearly approaching bankruptcy. I thought that a country couldn't be bankrupt, but so we tried to get a loan from the IMF, but he just laughed in our face for like 10 minutes, and then he said no.
Fair enough. I'll grant you 3 economics-related suggestions, and
Alright.
only economics-related suggestions. Okay? There's some dude in the past asked me how he can get laid.
Did it happen?
No.
Alright, so I got you, Milton. You know, asking to get laid, I just buy them in general. But our currency is absolutely it got pegged in, as you might say, like Zimbabwe.
Oh.
So my question for you is, our economy has had quite a lot of problems here in Palestine. For example, we had a very massive real estate problem.
What was the real estate problem?
Oh, it was 70 years long. It was a very, very long story. But if that wasn't bad enough, what made our situation worse was COVID from the Chinese. You know, it was horrible for us. So we printed more money for the people, and we printed too much, and now we have massive inflation. So we shouldn't have printed more.
Oh no, shit! If I was your citizen, I'd be fucking pissed too.
So if you think that's bad, you should have seen what happened when I cut the adult content channels.
All right. So luckily for you, my entire economic theory is primarily based on monetary policy.
What is the monetary policy? Is that some American invention?
We are fucked.
I think it's going to be a little too long of a conversation, so maybe we should sit down for it. You want some Pepsi?
Sure, I'll take some Pepsi.
Pepsi. Pepsi.
Okay, I'll take some.
So during the sit-down, Trudeau and Friedman discussed the issues plaguing Palestine and how to resolve these issues. The primary cause harming Palestine's economy was massive inflation due to an overprinting of money and corruption that had led to the majority of the shareholders in the country, which were the average citizens, not receiving the funding and benefits they would want. Friedman finally settled on dealing with the money supply issue at hand and told Trudeau to use monetary policy, which is a set of actions used to control a nation's money supply and economic growth. Friedman also informed Trudeau that the Palestinian dinar could be salvaged and that changing their currency overall would cause foreign investors to lose faith, making it a poor idea. Friedman also mentioned how, back in his day, the Federal Reserve caused the Great Depression because they curtailed their money supply by over 33% from 1929 to 1933 due to poor economic choices. Finally, Friedman also brought up the idea of hard money policy, which is when the money in circulation within a country should only grow at the same rate as the economic growth of the nation. To conclude it off, he finally mentioned that Trudeau should include a negative income tax in Palestine, also known as an earned income tax, which is a work credit that may give money back at tax time or lower the federal taxes people owe. The final thing he said before leaving was that he would advocate for a floating exchange rate, which refers to an exchange rate system where a country's currency price is determined by the relative supply and demand of other currencies.
The economy of Palestine has improved. The people of Palestine still call for the resignation of the Prime Minister after a barrage of new controversies came to his way. The Prime Minister was recorded on video at the Holocaust Memorial in France, attempting to do a German impression of Gru from the hit children's animated movie franchise Despicable Me, which was heavily criticized by many international leaders. However, he drew criticism and controversy in his own nation. In his recent scandals, Prime Minister Trudeau had a messy incident with face paint that drew the ire of Twitter. The SNC Lavalin issue was also a very big controversy in which the SNC Lavalin, a firm connected to Trudeau, was facing charges regarding alleged bribes to Libyan officials. The company had lobbied federal government for a deferred prosecution agreement, which didn't work out. However, the government and Trudeau did their best to help the SNC avoid trial. The WE Charity incident was also a stain on his record. Mr. Trudeau, when asked, responded by saying, and this is a quote, "Come on guys, let's let bygones be bygones." Recently, the Prime Minister was recorded attempting to get disabled veterans to foot race him, and if they won, he'd pay their rent.
After single-handedly saving Palestine's economy by implementing Friedman's economic ideas, Jagmeet decided to take a trip to New York to discuss his plans with the UN.
الشعب يقول اني حاكم كريم.
اي 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 ايوه ناس عالدوبس حاسي كيف وقتهم يا زول وان جنرال على المركب كاديلاك.
America, the birthplace of AIDS.
Message d'amour pour les mamas, respect à vie pour les mamas. Sans elles on ne serait pas là. Tchala les drivers, salam alaikum yima. Femme dans mon cœur, toutes les autres passent après. Aucune ne m'aime plus qu'elle, ça c'est un fait. Même à 30 piges, moi je reste son bébé. Je veux la protéger comme elle m'a protégé. Lève ta main si tu aimes ta mère. Lève ta main si tu aimes ta mère. On veut voir toutes les mains en l'air. C'est Jala les drivers, Jala les drivers. Hey, DJ Youssef au scratch. Amour, paix, respect, longue vie à toutes les mamas. Travaille dur chaque jour pour te voir vivre mieux. Petit respect ta mère car on en a pas deux. Ilan Zour Nebra, Nebri Kima. Je suis Camerounais marocain d'Algérie qui bosse en Tunisie. Jalal.